Hello and welcome to Flory Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Pro Modelers 148 scale. This is SB2C Helldiver. Now this is one of those kits that I've been doing recently from the sort of vintage series, although this one's not too bad. It's around about 1997. So it's in that sort of late crossover period when we were going from basically old tall raised panel lines to sort of everything becoming recessed. Around about sort of the 90s, that was the big changeover. This particular one is what I actually call a fossil kit because it's come from a stash. And as you can see, it's flattened. So over the years, people have more and more in their stash, and this thing is literally pancaked. And I've tried to make the box as best as possible, but sometimes you can find some real gems down in these damaged boxes and things like that. So you might be able to pick them up quite cheap as well. So down in here, you can see really nice box art with this particular one. This particular kit, to be honest with you, spawned quite a different collection from lots of reboxing from different manufacturers. So obviously Revell, basically being part of Monogram series back in the day, and obviously the Hasegawa kits, they released a load of these as well, but also the Accurate Miniature one. If you're ever going to get hold of the Accurate Miniature one, this is actually this kit as well. It's actually the Pro Modelers original version of it. So as you can see, the box is pretty mullered, so there's not a great deal to see to it. Kit number for this one is 5935. You can just about see just down in there. If I can flip it over, you do get a very nice look of what it actually is. And it's a very iconic aircraft, let's face it. It's a beautiful looking aircraft. And you can do some very nice marking options with them as well for the Pacific Theatre. So in the box, you are greeted by, as I say, it's a bit fossilised. The decals, I think, are just about on their out. You could probably get away with bleaching them, but the clue is up here at the top. We'll have a closer look at those in a moment. We've got the instructions, which is always important. But what we do have, and that's the thing with this kit, is still sealed separate bags for it as well. So hopefully, if I can unstick it from the box, we are going to be okay. This is the Pro Modeler series, so we also do get a nice bit of photo etch with it as well. All right. So if I can find a way of popping that up somehow, maybe like that. That's it. There we go. Close enough. Right, okay, as always, we will start in the instructions. And again, this one being a later kit, the instructions are now sort of in a booklet style with staples and things like that, which is very nice as well. We do get a pilot figure. So it's talking about obviously putting this one together and then going right the way through. Now, the Pro Modeler series were basically done by Monogram Revell as an upgraded type of kit. So they usually came with a little bit of photo etch or something extra. So in our case, that. But also the instructions were a little bit different as well. You tended to get reference photos in amongst it with a detailed description. So again, it's talking about the belts down here in detail about the actual slip buckles and the various things, which you normally never get in any other kit. Talking about the cockpit, obviously going together and putting that through. And again, it's got a fully detailed cockpit right the way through. We have got some black and white references, which is actually a very nice touch with it as well. And then obviously you've got your various parts going into it. But again, full description of exactly how it goes together and what the actual parts are as they're going through it as well. So that makes it a lot easier. Pretty much colour callouts right the way through. So if you're worried about that, it's pretty easy because it's going to be green chromate, I do imagine. Anyway, cockpit going right the way through, and you've got the observers one as well being put down in there. So that's all those going in there. As you can see, the tail section going in, and then putting all of these details in again. So again, it's a really nice detail kit, hence why Accurate Miniatures ended up redoing it as well. Nice touch with the engine. So the first piece of this sort of photo etch we've got down in here is this sort of wiring ring around the front going into there as well. So that's very nice as well. We've got the exhaust systems being fitted down onto this one. And again, in here, we've got the exhaust stub even right the way through being fitted in here as well. So again, some nice little call outs for this one. Then we got these down in here. So again, you've got the various things for the doors being fitted down in there for the bomb bay. And then obviously the description of how those all go as well. So again, really nice detail. Same thing with the bombs actually being fitted to it. Then it's over to the wings. So we've got a cannon barrel being fitted into the wheel well. And then obviously the two halves are going to be going together before fitting onto the aircraft. The only thing this thing is missing, I do believe, is some type of wing spar. But as you'll see, they've got around that problem by having quite an ingenious little locating area for putting the wings on. Again, same with the tailplanes, two halves going together, wheel wells going together, and then obviously you've got the actuators being fitted down into that one. And then obviously this thing does come with weighted wheels. Again, really nice touch for its day. And again, doors open or closed if you wanted to go to in flight. We've got the gun, nice reference picture of the gun up there again. The bomb racks being fitted down into this as well, and the vanes all being done onto this one. And then again, you've got the dive brakes being fitted into here. So obviously with those ones and the various other things. The only thing you don't get is a wings fold option on this one, but there is, I do believe, aftermarket that you can fold it up with. Leading edge sort of slats on the front, so obviously those, if you're going to have those extended or retracted, and then a little bit more detail for the observer's area down in the back here as well. So you've got the gun sight, and then obviously with the guns being fixed onto it as well. So you've got the mounting system all going down in there. And then obviously carrying on, you've got the ring then for the gun, obviously fitting that down into it. It's the floating variety, which sits down on there. Prop as well being fitted, and then obviously you've got the cowling going on the front. Cowl flaps in the open position, and then clear parts, depending obviously what you're going to be having it, if you're having it open or closed, various things to it. Markings, call-outs, again, you've got some nice different options down in here, and there's a lot of aftermarket ones available, and then stencil data, as you can see. So you can see some very nice bits and pieces going on in there. And then obviously you got what's the highlight with all the Pro Modeler type kits is usually a little bit of photo etch or some extra detail. So again, you've got this nice grilling for the actual dive flaps down onto this as well. So that's really nice as well. So they're acting like flaps and speed brakes all in one. So we've got those in that wiring ring. You've got the sights down in here, and also you've got all the buckles for the harnesses, if you haven't noticed as well. So very, very nice job down in there. The decals, whilst we got them, as you can see, they've yellowed out. Again, this is one of those where I always say on any of my shows, I wouldn't worry trying to fight them. If you're doing a beautiful work, you spent 40, 50, 100 hours building your kit, by taking a $10 shortcut by not using aftermarket decals, this could sting you really, really badly, because they might not go on, they could crack, it could, bring annoyance and frustration to your build. So what I would say is, get a backup set. Any decals that have started to yellow off and gone through, and you can see down in here, they are oddly done. It's the carrier. This isn't actually the sort of bleed through. This is actually how the carrier is. They've done like a diamond effect around it, around the stars and bars and things. But you can see this at the top, which is a little bit of a clue what's going on here with the yellowing with the ones on here. I probably wouldn't trust them. Yes, of course, you could put them in direct sunlight and hopefully the UV light will bleach them out, and lots of people have great success with it. Personally, I wouldn't take the risk. I'd just get aftermarket and away you go. But if you did give it a whirl. Stick them in a sunlit window, put the masking tape onto them, leave them there for a month and see how you get on with them. But yeah, very nice. So, in the bags, we are greeted by, hopefully, a really nice kit. So, down in here, we start with the fuselage. You can see, if we just pop these out of the way, we've got a bit of room. You can see, really nice detail. And again, this is something with Pro Modeler at the time. They were really probably one of the finest panel line details that was available, that was coming down the line. Obviously the Japanese ones, Hasegawa, Tamiya, they were all on board with this now, but everybody else was still a little bit trying to find their feet with it all. And I think if we move into the close-ups, we go down in here, you can see just how nicely detailed this is. So again, if you're looking at that mixture of raised, so obviously we've got the sort of spars showing through on the tail here, right the way through to the metal construction. So we've got riveting, and you've got recessed and raised details down in here as well. So obviously, if you can see down here on this tail, this riveting detail is all raised and then recessed around it. And, when you're thinking back in the day, that was cutting edge to do that. So again, we've got this hinging little lines down in here, and as you can hear, it's, where did it go? It is all raised, which is really nice indeed. So that's very, very good. We've got the prop. You can probably see some of the details from the inside. Again, raised details on this head, and it's sharp. Again, a little bit of flash on the sprues, but we're not worried about that. We've got the cowl flaps, obviously all in the open position. We've got the front of that engine. Obviously with the wiring, it's going to look absolutely fantastic. We've got the pilot figure down in there as well, and he's multi-part down this side. We've got the floor and the actual bomb bay down in here. Again, really nice touch. But obviously the other things as well that are a highlight for me for this kit is the detail down in the back here for the observer. The ejector pins are out of the way, so they're not actually going to be in view anywhere, but the ribbing and the lining is, and absolutely looks fantastic. So very nice indeed. Same goes down in here. This is the bomb bay. So this is the actual bomb bay doors with the inner workings of it as well. So this is sort of the bulkheaded bits around it. So yeah, very, very nice. And again, you know, there isn't actually sink marks showing through. They look like they're there, but they're not actually come through. So that just is a little bit of cold webbing on there. So that's very, very nice indeed. But generally, as I say, when you look at it and with the age of this kit, it was cutting edge. Absolutely. I can understand now why Accurate Miniatures went for this one. The wing spar sections, or sorry, the wing sections, I should say, are just the same. As you can see, beautiful details. Absolutely looking gorgeous. And when you look even closer, you can really appreciate it. So again, all of these, the little dots all down in here, they're all raised. So it's recessed and raised right next to each other. There is some bits going down in here. Obviously, we got the inside of that wheel well, lots of detail, and it got a little bit of sink marks on the front here. But what I love about it, it's that uniformed. It makes for sort of that canning effect or stressed skin, because it probably would have that in real life. So I'm not saying that it was designed into it, because I don't think it was, but it gives that effect of. And because it's a uniform and it's on both sides, I would definitely leave it in, because it's just adding another touch. And again, really very, very nice. Again, same with the tails. And for the underside of those wings, lots of detail. Beautiful kit, absolutely legendary kit. And as I say, down in here, we've got those wheel wells. We've got an ejector pin in there, but to be honest, where they're placed, because you've got the leg coming up here, you won't see it. Nicely cleaned out on the inside as well. And again, tucked out of the way, be absolutely fine. So very, very nice indeed. Okay, so then into the smaller parts, we have, again, really, really nice details on these. So if we start up here, you can see the cockpit dials, all the instrumentation. There is a decal that goes with it, but again, dry brushing and taking care of that brings it beautifully to life. This flash, whilst annoying, it's not on any of the parts. It goes up to them, but I think it's clear of it. But again, yours might not have that. But look at all those lovely details on the inside. These are that wing sections. You're going to have rockets on board. And then obviously we've got the sway braces for the weaponry. We've got that floating ring system. We've got other little areas. We've got the flash just coming over and touching down in here, but that's easy clean up, to be honest with you. And again, the sort of radio equipment, the bits and pieces down for the observer, the seats looking really, really nice. And again, the wheels, beautiful detail, weight on wheels as well, so they are bulged. And then again, on the other side, really very, very clean and sharp. So very nice indeed. Last up, we've got the clear parts. So once again, beautifully done. Really very, very nice. This, I love the actual effect on here. Now a mask set would absolutely be a real joy, but if you haven't, it's nicely raised, but the riveting is raised and the panel line detail is probably spot on. It's very tactile. But again, the great thing is the clarity of it. It's incredibly clear, as you can see. There's no real distortion down into this one, even on the front one. It's actually really nice. And these rears, again, good quality moulding on those. Got a little bit of flash just down on here, but let's face it, it's pretty straightforward with these. Just be careful on that bubble on the side. There's a little bubble on the side and you just don't want to cut that off. But again, very, very nice indeed. What's not to love? At the end of the day, like we were saying, sometimes these fossilized kits, as I call them, that might be in your local store, it might be, you know, you're buying part of a stash or something else like that, they can have some real gems into them, and this is definitely one of them. It's a beautiful kit. We often think of things like Accurate Miniatures making a marvellous kits. It's no wonder they took this one on, because it is an absolutely fantastic kit. And when you've got that mixture of raised and recessed now down in there, along with beautifully detailed cockpit, bomb bay, the observer section, all the bits and pieces that are going to go with it, you're going to end up with something very, very special. And again, there's a boatload of aftermarket for this as well. So if you wanted to add more detail to it, and also with different markings, things like that, there's loads of options. So don't be put off by those pesky decals that are thinking, well, the decals are, honestly, if you are putting in all those hours into a beautiful kit, don't go skimp on the decals at the end. Just get yourself a nice new set, pop them down, and then go on with your weathering, and you end up with a really nice looking model. So there we go. That's the Pro Modelers 1/48 scale Helldiver.